the 404 Audio Show with your hosts MetaPattern and Thesis.
Welcome to the first episode of the 404 Audio Show. We are your hosts, Thesis and MetaPattern.
Hello.
And we're joined by Logam.
What the hell?
We're going to take care of you for the next hour as we showcase music and discussions as it relates to Atlanta drum and bass.
Alright, that is right. We have so many cool things to play, topics to discuss. This episode, we're going to be talking about getting booked for D&B shows in Atlanta, what makes a good club experience, and we're also going to be reviewing beers by Monday Night Brewery and
Wild Leap out of LaGrange, GA. We're also going to keep you up to date on Atlanta drum and bass events, highlighting some local artists, so stick around because something hype is coming. Now, there's really no way that we can reliably bring you the latest and greatest D&B content without getting some beer in our system. MetaPattern, what should be our first beer of the episode?
that is an excellent question. Our first beer on the show should be important, so I'm going to have to go with Bud Lights. Well, maybe not. Just kidding. Our first beer is pretty special because it's brewed in Atlanta, and it shares part of its name with 404 Audio. The beer is 404 Page Not Found by Monday Night Brewing. It's an IPA perfectly suited to be on the 404 Audio Show. I've actually been looking forward to trying this beer since January because we had a birthday party, and Bill and my friend Hunter brought me some of that, and it's just been sitting in my fridge, like, dying to be drunken, and now we finally get to do it.
Well, resist no more, my friend. Let's crack into this. In fact, we've already got it cracked, we've already got it popped, and Logam, MetaPattern, and Thesis are going to try this new beer for Monday night. It is 404 Page Not Found on the 404 Audio Podcast. So, gentlemen, cheers to you all. Cheers.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
It's good. Very good.
So juicy.
404 Page Not Found is an unfiltered IPA. It has 7.1% alcohol percent volume,
Nice.
which means fairly heavy. It's got a bow tie on it because it is part of their bow tie or black tie series,
So,
which is their high end.
another way it kind of relates to 404 Audio is, since the name of the beer is Page Not Found, if you were to go to 404audio.com, you wouldn't have Page Not Found, but if you were to try to find the old forum stuff, it would be a 404 error on your part.
Which is an HTTP, HTML web error that you get. There's a whole case of those, and 404 means that you can't find that particular page. That's exactly what would happen. So, a little IT reference for you. Shout out to the 6 people that got that. We're going to be moving on as we get into our first topic, which is talking about getting booked in Atlanta for a drum and bass gig, and some of the different ideas that we may have, or hopefully some cool tips that we can give you as people who've been involved in the scene for a while, both as DJs, promoters, and label owners, and all sorts of stuff. I would say your best bet to get booked, kind of the standard practice, is you need to have some sort of DJ equipment. You got to get some mixes going, and then when you get to a point where you have what you feel is a mix that's good enough to put online after whatever period of time, put it out there as a promotional mix. Find some of the promoters, go to their shows, send them the mixes, and generally I would say be friendly is about your kind of your best recipe, if you will. Logan, would you agree with that recipe? Being our resident chef, Logan's here to give us some insight.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what something promoters will be looking for, and also just to show your face at their shows.
Yeah,
it's pretty key.
Being there in person day after day is definitely one of the best ways to get moved to the front of any list that may or may not exist. Along with that, most of the pages have directions on their websites on, additional steps that you may want to take. Typically emailing people, having some sort of correspondence, replying promptly, all that professional stuff always helps. And yeah, being there supporting month in, month out is the biggest one for me.
Then you're your reoccurring reminder that I'm, hey, I'm here. Good to see you. You don't even necessarily have to mention that did you check out my mix or do you think you could get me on? Just being there. I did that to Anthony. I would high five Anthony for years and years because one, I wanted to go to the shows, but when I started to DJ, I just made a special point to say hello to him, get to know him, talk to him, and be friendly. And eventually, after getting a couple mixes together and over to him, I was able to get on for a couple shows.
Nice.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, same.
So I think that's really the key. Being familiar with equipment is another part of that. Certainly in this landscape of the way the shows go nowadays, you have people, if you're starting to DJ, I think in the last 5 years, you're probably going to buy a controller because it's the most affordable thing that you can get. I don't think that any of us, whenever how long has it been since, when did you start DJing MetaPattern?
2007.
2007? You're probably around there as well, 2008?
2005,
2006. So, and that's the same for me, 2006. And the only way that I was even able to get time to practice, I was lucky enough to be able to borrow a mixer and 2 CDJs from a buddy who was on the 404 forum. Shout out to Ricky Raw for lending those to me. And that's what you did. You either had a friend who had turntables that you could get some sort of reoccurring access to, or you ended up getting a pair or whatever, but it's fairly expensive. So if you're in the time frame now, you're playing on a controller, so it's a different thing. You're learning to play on that, and there's either the option to bring that to the club, depending on several factors, or finding some way to learn on that how to DJ, and then eventually getting into finding a friend who's got CDJs or turntables or whatever, and getting some time to practice on that. So
being flexible is definitely important because you never know. Your equipment may fail the night of the event, but if the industry standard CDJs are there and you can still rock it out on that, then more power to you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Logam, for some of the gigs that you've been able to get together, and you're more on, dealing with agents and all that sort of stuff, what kind of tips could you give as far as, do you find that you need to have a logo and all this other stuff, and that's all kind of goes to the territory if you want to get to a higher level of maybe just playing out for fun?
Yeah, it does. You have to have the image, in a sense.
Yeah,
the brand.
And so with you guys, with Legion and Logam, and certainly with your own solo work before, production and getting recognized from there was a way for you to, would you say the gigs kind of came after?
Yeah, basically,
that?
House of Cards. Yeah, when we did House of Cards, that's all uphill from there.
Nice.
Yeah, which was great, but it doesn't stay there. You have to stay relevant.
Right.
That's the thing. Just because you've done something great once before doesn't really matter today.
And I think in terms of that same philosophy applies. If you're doing this for fun and you want to be a local DJ, that if you go to a show you're trying to play out once and then you don't go and you maybe go once the rest of that year, I'm sure the promoter would appreciate that you've gone twice within a year, but it's kind of the same thing. Like, you really kind of have to, I don't want to go out and say that it's a requirement to be at every show. It's the reminder that I'm here, and it's kind of like the same as you're using releases. Hey, I'm here. I'm putting out these tunes. I'm in the
well, it's showing that you're supporting too.
Sure, showing you're supporting there, and
especially if it's a paid show.
Sure.
Yeah, and promoter stuff aside, there's just going to be other people going to more shows than you, and those, the more you go and the more you're seen out, the more likely it is that they're going to approach you sooner than someone who doesn't go out as much. So regardless of thoughts as from the promoter side, there's just going to be people out there more, and it's not like you want to compete with them. We all want our friends to succeed and everything like that, but they are there more, they're going to be seen more. It just naturally kind of means they're going to be approached more.
I think another side of it too, when you start to, when you've kind of gotten it down as far as, DJing and getting the skills together, I found it's very helpful to seek out people to tag with, because that is an easy way to kind of get into the door. If you had the ability to be flexible and be able to tag with somebody, and maybe I don't really find anybody in the scene who's very unapproachable. I think most people are in the Atlanta drum and bass scene very interested to talk to you, especially if you're new. I don't think there's a lot of people who are rejecting that sort of thing. So that could be a way to try and find somebody and say, hey, I'm kind of coming up. Do you think maybe we could just get together and do some mixing at your house or my house just to kind of see? And I think not only would you learn from that situation, but it could be a way. I've never really thought about kind of approaching it that way, but I do try to remain flexible, and I've definitely gotten gigs because I can tag with people. But it's certainly another part of the skill set to learn, and it's hard, certainly. I would play with Thomas V a bunch, and when I was learning how to DJ, he would do these lessons where it wasn't even really that he was saying he was doing a lesson, but he would leave me with an amen tune at the end of the mix just to kind of see what I would do, and a couple of times I just wreck that, and he's like, okay. In his mind, I'm sure he's like, well, we were getting there. But then I remember specifically the first time I ever landed that, I was mixing with him, and he played this Raiden tune that was on Renegade hardware. It's called Abyss, and the drums in it are just, they're all over the place. It's not very steady at all. But it's very complex and interesting. And I remember landing that mix and just being on a cloud that I was able to, and he looked over and was excited that I had made it. I'd figured out how to, because he probably thought I wasn't going to be able to do it. So I don't know, versatility and just connecting and networking with people, I think, are all ways to get in there, and having consistent output. If you're a local DJ and you want to mix, putting out mixes. You can do live streams. All these things are available to you now. Yeah. I think that's certainly a way to get noticed.
And you don't even have to have a major brand strategy or anything like that. Really just, some graphics, a good logo, just constant, not constant, but constant enough updates on social media, reminding people that you exist, things like that. Just, it goes further than you would expect, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think having an online presence certainly. We used to post on the board on 404 Audio. You post your mix up there. You'd make friends there. That was your networking. You'd see them out at the club.
Yeah.
And I remember Derek and the guys who did the Support Your Local show posted up a contest. That was the first time I ever got to play out.
Same here, and I think we were actually in the same
round,
and we didn't even realize it all those years ago.
So yeah, because that was 2007. I think is when that was the first time for me to play out. So we did that at Torch. I think probably in the next year or two we'll do another one of the contests. It's been a number of years, but it was fun. It was fun because people just came up that we had never really met. They obviously were coming to the show and they were interested in playing because it was an opportunity. So I'm very grateful for Derek and them for doing that, because that was my first chance to get up there.
And then I did horrible, but I played Glock Party, so there was that.
Hey, you're fed the contest?
Yeah.
What was the first time you played out, Logam?
First time? Wow, I don't even know. That was a long time ago. I think it was at some bar in Midtown with True Form. Old James.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been the first one. And Arian too, I think, played.
First time I think I've ever seen you play, probably maybe when we met, was around the time of the Checkered Parrot.
Oh yeah, those days too, yeah.
I don't know, I get my timelines a little mixed up sometimes.
Yeah, no, that was... No, when I played the Checkered Parrot, I had already started playing out a little bit. But not much, I was still very new. But yeah, I think it was at this bar that was in Midtown, I can't remember the name of it now. I think Chai was there too.
He's playing Torch next month. 4-4, yeah.
Memory not found.
Right? Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Memory not found. But yeah, the Checkered Parrot was
a long time ago.
A fun place for all of us to get together.
That's crazy though. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
Checkered Parrot, yeah, I guess 2007. Somewhere in that time frame.
That's crazy.
Well, I think we're going to get into some tunes, so we'll move on to the next segment. Thank you for tuning in.
The 404 Audio Show with your hosts MetaPattern and Thesis.
so we'll go right into the next tasting here. We've had one tasting, and the table is actually pretty dirty.
All right, folks, we're here with the second round of our beer tasting. This is from the Wild Leap Brewery in LaGrange, Georgia. It is Truck Chaser Creamsicle Double IPA coming in at 8.1%.
Smells good.
Yeah. If you like orange, then you might like it.
I like orange. Oh yeah, the cream is so good.
Logam, have you ever looked into brewing beer?
Not in depth. I just know kind of the basics of it.
But you could definitely do it.
I think if I read up on it, yeah.
What sort of beer would you want to make? How would you infuse? Because you have all the culinary brain power.
Yeah. That's a good question. I'm sure someone's done chocolate already.
Oh yeah.
They do chocolate a lot with stouts, which are, I don't really know what the basis for it is. They're darker beers. They're usually pretty high in ABV content percentages. They're probably like 10 a lot for stouts. So whatever that bitter taste is of a stout, they use chocolate to, I guess kind of tone that down. Some of the stouts are very, very sweet. I'm not actually a big fan of them. This is a pretty interesting thing. This is made, it's pretty crazy all the different sciences. This has like lactose in it, which is why it's like a creamsicle or like a milkshake IPA. There's a warning on there because you have to warn about what everything has. This beer contains lactose. So if you're lactose intolerant, no cheese, and also none of this beer for you. But there's plenty of other beer that's probably lactose free.
Well, I am, so.
You're lactose intolerant?
Yeah, that means I'm not going to do this whole thing.
Yikes. Well, you heard it here first, folks. We are poisoning Logam with round 2.
It's round 2 and it's already
doesn't do anything.
So the intolerance is basically your body rejects it.
Yeah. It's like an allergy.
So what happens to you with lactose?
Like stomach pains that are like crazy.
Oh, this doesn't sound fun either.
No, it's not.
No. So are you able to have any small amounts of lactose?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, but if I drink a glass of milk, I'm screwed.
Oh.
Yeah, but if I put a little bit of cheese on something, I'm alright.
Okay.
So this isn't going to do anything.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's a small sample anyways.
Yeah, but if I drink the whole thing, there might be a problem.
Yikes. Well, I'm glad that I brought up the lactose so that we could discuss that. MetaPattern, what are your thoughts on the Wild Leap?
Dude, this is really good. This is something you could, a lot of times with like creamy beers or something that is a little bit more unique, it's interesting to drink, but you don't want like a whole 6-pack of it or something. With this, I'm definitely down to do something like that. I would buy a 6-pack of this and be good.
What do we have next up on the show? What are we doing? We got another topic, or are we doing a song?
Let's see.
Are we gonna laugh uncontrollably and not be able to get through the segment?
Yeah, let's try.
No, that's never happened.
It's time for one of the coolest segments on the show. It's the 404 Audio Local Artist Spotlight. Our goal with this segment is to highlight an artist in the Atlanta scene each episode and showcase something they've been working on. This is either going to be a song from the past month that came out, or maybe an upcoming tune on a record label, or maybe even a short mini-mix from one of the artists. So this month we have, 3 different songs from local folks that we'd like to point out here. The first artist for the 404 Audio Spotlight is going to be Tim C., one of my good friends, Tim. He's got a drum and bass remix of a tune called Momentum by Don Diablo. Here it is.
Tim C., we've got a new tune from him, and here it is on the 404 Audio Podcast with Logam, MetaPattern, and Thesis, and several cats.
Right here, right now. 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 Right here, right now.
This is Tim C., and you're listening to the 404 Audio Podcast.
Right now, right here, right now. 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 Right here, right now.
404 Audio Show with your hosts MetaPattern and Thesis.
Right now. Right here. 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 Right now.
Be sure to head over to Tim C's page at facebook.com/TimCDNB. He's got new tunes coming out like every couple months now, and they're always really light, really atmospheric, really positive, a lot of future bass influences, and kind of reminds me of a merman. Why do I think of that? And with that, I think we're going to get right into the next spotlighted tune. This one is called Shadows. It's by Chillum, aka Matt. He was just playing at the most recent Elevate show over at Believe Music Hall with me and Submorphix and BDK and Amacus. Yeah, let's go right into it.
Hey, this is Chillum, and you're tuned in to the 404 Audio Podcast. Big ups.
Huge track. Those drum shake-ups and atmospherics, man, it sounds really good, dude. Big ups, Matt. That was Shadows by Chillum. Keep a lookout on his page. That's Chillum Beats on Facebook. And yeah. Alright, last local artist spotlight tune that we want to do this episode is by none other than the main man Logam here. This one is the Legion and Logam remix of Garen Stone's Lies, and I think you're really going to like this one. So kick back, check it out. This is the 404 Audio Podcast. Keep it locked.
404 Audio Show with your hosts MetaPattern and
My
Thesis.
Father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage, against the dying of the light.
Alright, so we're back. Big up to MetaPattern, his artist spotlight. We're getting into our beer tasting here, and this is from another Georgia brewery. It's the Wild Leap Brewing Company, and what we're drinking is the Alpha Abstraction, that series. They've done a number of different volumes. This is volume 4, and as you can guess, with MetaPattern myself, it is an India Pale Ale. MetaPattern, it looks like it's a W. A W. It's a W! It is a double. Or it's going to be a win, for sure. So, what is a double IPA? What do we have going on here with this particular beer?
Well, double IPA usually means even more of all the best things about IPA, really. It's going to be stronger, usually tends to be pretty hoppier and bitter, but not so much that it would just completely turn you off altogether.
I would definitely agree with that. It looks like this beer is 8% alcohol, and it is a juicy double dry hopped IPA with Denali hops, the 4th edition in this series, a varied hop profile in each volume. I've had maybe 2, 4, and 5, so we're trying 4.
I think I've had 4, but either way. The other good thing
Cheers, Steve.
Double IPAs is they will typically always have this nice orange color to them, whereas IPAs you'll get like a kind of a spectrum of orange. You'll have hazy ones, you'll have clear ones, but these doubles always tend to have at least a little bit of haze and are always like nice and orange.
Yeah, I do like a good juicy orange looking IPA. The ones that are more, I think people when they think of an IPA, the color, they normally think of like a Sweetwater 420 where it's kind of like that brownish amber.
Yeah.
Usually fairly transparent, you can see through it. But this one is definitely not see-through.
Definitely juicy. And just because it looks orange doesn't mean the flavor is going to be orange, but in
that's
this case,
true. I think a lot of people think that.
It's definitely juicy.
I really would like to spend some time trying to figure out all the different hop profiles and what I really like. Yeah. I've noticed they put the hop, whatever the hops are, they, which if you don't know what hops are, we're going to link in the description. I don't want to try and butcher a description of that, but it's something that they grow to add the flavor profile to beer. They're grown all over the world. They're highly in demand. If you're a hop farmer, you're probably making some serious cash these days.
Yeah.
Certainly in the United States. So. And
yeah, I guess a lot of people probably knew hops is in beer, but I didn't know until relatively recently that there's just dozens of different breeds and
strands and
yeah, it's awesome. And so if you ever get a chance to go to a brewery that has a bunch of different hops to try out, like get them in your hands, break them up, you can smell the differences. You can, and as you pick out your favorite ones, you'll eventually start like tasting them in the beers.
Yeah, you'll be like, that's well, I believe that's Galaxy. They've used. Oh, let's look at the can.
Amarillo.
Oh, that's correct. Amarillo, Cascade. Amarillo's in a lot of the West Coast stuff.
Yeah, I also didn't know that the hop plants grow like to be like 3 stories tall.
No,
did you know that?
No.
Did you just think it was like a 6 foot tall plant?
I thought it was like a
something
bush,
like that, or like a bush.
A bush that they had a bunch of them. They harvest them, and in the brewing process, they'll put them in with the water and what they're heating up, and then as they've identified on this can, they also dry hop, which is where it's almost like if you've ever made tea, hot tea, and you're taking a bag of hot tea and you're dipping it in the hot water, the tea remains inside the bag, but it adds the flavor. So that's what dry hopping is. It's taking hops, putting them in like a bag, like a cloth sort of bag or some sort of device, and then dunking them into.
Yeah.
And so you're adding flavor, but you're not adding the actual hops into it, whereas the first part of the process it's in there. So definitely interesting. There's a lot of science in making beer. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
I'm glad there's a lot of great people out there making it. especially here in Georgia. If you live in the state of Georgia, and hopefully you do, because we're ropping and repping and ropping and absolutely flexing for 404 Audio. So check out some of your local breweries. There's a lot of them out here, and that's one of the things we wanted to feature on the podcast. If you drink beer and you're interested in trying out some new stuff, Atlanta and the state of Georgia has a lot of great breweries out there. So support your local.
You want us to review?
Yeah, leave a comment. If you're like, hey, I want to see something from ABC Brewery, let us know, and we'll definitely check it out.
I see no reason why not to support Georgia beers along with Georgia drum and bass.
As that's our tie-in, as MetaPattern just featured a local Atlanta artist, we wanted to feature a local, at least to the state of Georgia, beer from Wild Leap. So thanks again for tasting along with us, and we're going to move into our next segment.
Brings us into another topic of discussion, and this one is near and dear to both of us, since you can always see us at Torch, and Torch is one of the few places that this next kind of topic is starting to apply to more. So that would be what the overall club experience is like these days, and what people like, what works, what may not work, and we'll just go from there.
I think that recently it's a good topic to have for Atlanta. At Torch, we've been trying to make some improvements, and the other, obvious topic to bring into here is we recently went to Elevate last weekend, and it's now being held at Believe Music Hall. Those guys, the Iris folks and the Imagine folks who own and operate Believe, are putting a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of equipment into the club experience. Mm-hmm. And Elevate is definitely benefiting from that, and we're so excited. Very evident at that new, the most recent show at Believe, Elevate featuring Submorphics and Track in the downstairs area, which is, I guess they're calling Wish Lounge or the basement. Got a couple of different names of the church, basement of the church. They've made all these new additions with LED panels and lights, and they're just constantly building. And every time I see Glenn or Chris or any of the people from Imagine posting up about the venue, they're always talking about, hey, just wait, friend. Yeah. Wait for the stuff that we're going to do. Wait for our plan. And so we want to talk about how that relates to the club going experience. And I think that for me, being at the show at Elevate with all these new improvements and new LED boards and all sorts of different lights and the logos being incorporated, that it brings a better club experience, and your average club goer is very interested in that. It's kind of the whole package. Mm-hmm. You've got the sound, you've got the DJs, you've got the brand, you've got the people there, you got the vibe, and now you have a lot more lights and the ability to display logos, and it's got more of a festival, large club sort of feel. Yeah. So big ups to Elevate for working hard to partner up with Iris and Imagine to be the new home of Elevate Drum and Bass with this just awesome club going experience. I had a blast. I had a great time, and I thought everything looked good. All the pictures, you got a video.
I have a ton of videos thanks to Amy, and I'll be posting those shortly, but a lot of good footage of each of the DJs with logos, just high quality, good sound too, actually.
Shout out to the all the sound techs and the overall sound designer and extraordinaire Brian Organic, who is in a management role there, overseeing all the technical side of the sound. I'm sure with a whole host of folks there and a whole team, everything sounded perfect. The monitors, the back-end speakers, all that sort of stuff was tuned properly, so we always have to big up Brian. Brian is always in the heart of the music scene here, and he has been for many years. So big up to him, his whole team, and all the folks at Iris and Imagine who put on this wonderful club going experience by putting this hard work into it. And big ups to all the folks from Elevate. Big up to Amanda and Zach for having this vision and, finding a new way to take their night, which has been very successful at Cosmo Lava for many years now, and had a great experience certainly every time I would go. I love the intimate vibe of Cosmo Lava. I love going there when Anthony was doing shows there.
Yeah, it's really a perfect place to start.
They did a wonderful job there building vibe and building a brand, and now they're moving it to this larger. So in a way, of course, they are elevating their own show, so big ups to them. I think that anybody who came to the show this past weekend, and anybody's going to go to the next show, which will be on March 15th. The next Elevate is featuring LSB and DRS. So they're doing a tour. It's going to be insane. It's going to be insane.
I'm so excited to hear DRS.
I've never seen DRS. I don't think he's been to Atlanta. The Elevate folks brought LSB 2 years ago to Cosmo Lava for their show, and it was one of my favorites. It was ram jammed. A ton of people were there out to support and just have a good time. So that's definitely a big part of the club going experience. You've got a great group of folks who come to the shows who are interested, and I think the music just kind of spreads positivity. I don't find a lot of negative stuff about drum and bass music, especially when you look at things like all the different sort of uplifting drum and bass there is.
Yeah.
Certainly that's a focus at Elevate as well. So
I just like how a lot of drum and bass it's aggressive, but that doesn't make it into the interpersonal.
Right, it's not a bad. Yeah. It's not
no
like we're listening
at the club. Or
right. I mean,
metal shows with mosh pits and stuff. I mean, even them, everyone's just having fun, but it's just so aggressive, and yet
the music exactly is so aggressive. But the aggression will if there's any display of it, it's not like you said in a negative way, or like it would be in another show. It is just dancing harder. Like when you see Ninja Joe and he is on some Eat Brain, like somebody has just dropped that new Eat Brain tune, and he's going bananas. Shout out to Ninja Joe. Yes. He has aggression in that dancing, but it's not like he's about to kick you in the face. I mean, he's ready to he's so excited, and that's what it is. The music builds excitement.
It's a good release for sure.
And that's one of the best things about the club going experience. I've been going for a long time. Anybody, if you're new, or if you've been going for a long time, we'd love to hear from your perspective, some of your club experiences, and different things that you think that matter to you, and we'll definitely talk about them on a future episode. But big ups to the Elevate folks at Torch. Some of the different things we've been trying to do. MetaPattern, you can tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've noticed. Doing.
The evolution of the Torch Club experience has been really nice, actually. So starting from the old Masquerade, which had a handful of lights, good sound, but other than that, it was dark. It was which is perfect for drum and bass. A funny side note I was gonna say is for drum and bass, you don't need any of that club experience at all just to have a bass line, good drum and bass experience. But then you start adding in things, and so Torch has moved to a new venue, the new Masquerade, and Purgatory has more lights by default than it used to, so we got a lot more visual action going on just right off the bat with the new move. And then most recently we've got Systematic coming in with the LED wall behind.
Shout out to Danny and to Gabby for taking an interest in our show and bringing this new dynamic to it. In response to our survey that we put out, people wanted to see more lights. They wanted more of that sort of experience. And Danny and Gabby have provided that, not only in doing the light programming with the existing lights, but also bringing their LED wall and doing all sorts of setup and just making it for more of a lighting experience within inside the club. And you have to think that the festivals over the last 5 years are why people are gravitating towards that. Like you said, drum and bass, we could go to a club 10 years ago and it could be super dark and everybody's down with that, and it's maybe that kind of adds to the underground vibe, and people still are responsive to it. But if you go out to dance music shows, you know that there's festivals out there. We have one of the biggest festivals here in the United States in our own backyard, put on by the Iris and Imagine folks for the Imagine Music Festival. So some of that has to translate, and that's what I think Danny and Gabby are doing for us with bringing the lights into Torch. So
hit those guys up if you ever have any questions about gear, sound gear, lighting gear. They have experience with all that stuff, and if you ever want to work with them, they can, whether it's supplementing additional sound to a club or even just bringing in their own gear and completely outfitting the whole venue with sound, they have it all, and they have a lot of stuff, like more than you would ever expect. And they can really put together the entire experience from a technical perspective.
Danny's experience also lies in the fact that he lived in Florida and did a lot of the stuff for Winter Music Conference. They were involved with that, so they have that sort of larger scale, multiple shows in a night. I think he's told me a number of times about, like, we'd go to one club, we set everything up, then it's the next night. Because if you've ever been to Winter Music Conference or Miami Music Week or down there, it's a marathon. You're not just going for a couple hours to one show. It's all night at that show, then the next show, then it's just kind of going. So they're out there doing a lot of the production for that sort of thing they have.
One of the busiest weeks of my life going to that, and it was just a weekend day for me, and I wasn't involved with any of the gear, so I was just attending, and it was still already busy.
Oh, it's a workout. It's an absolute marathon. I miss it. I haven't been in a few years. It's coming up. We're in towards the end of February here. It usually is, I think, towards the end of March. World of Drum and Bass is doing a show down there. I think they're doing 2 shows, actually.
Awesome.
And I saw the lineup announcement. I was like, Simon, Bassline Smith and Drum Sound, nice. I would love to see them again. Sure. Shout out to Imagine. Got a chance to see them here in Atlanta a couple years ago. And then DJ SS, I've seen him a number of times in Asheville, here, and at World of Drum and Bass. Of course, he heads it up. But then they posted up this week, they have TC. And I've never seen TC, and I would love to see that dude, because he seems like a real character online with the kind of social media persona that all the DJs now have. He seems like a funny guy and fun to hang out with, but also I'm a fan of his tunes. I like some of his jump up stuff, like Deep, and then I like all his newer stuff. So it would be great to see it. Don't know if I'll make it down there, but
it's tough. I had to miss it last year, but man.
You have to take like a week
for an Atlanta drum and bass invasion.
Absolutely.
We need y'all's help.
We got to dominate that. So give us a shout out down there. So in summary, talking about club experience, wrapping this topic up, there's a lot of things that make a good club experience. For us, certainly sound and lights, and I think that's going to be for anybody. For me, it's parking was something I wanted to mention. Love when there's like information about the parking and it's safe, and if there's not, that sort of information, or maybe I want to have a couple drinks and I'll take Uber. And I drive over to my buddy's house. I'm sure you've done the same. And me and you have done this before as well. Coordinate with your friends, do a little bit of planning, drive over to someone's house, you guys split the Uber, get down to the club and enjoy it. And you don't have to worry about driving, you're all set. So thanks again for tuning into this segment. We're going to be on to the next tasting. You are listening to the 404 Audio Show. Season 1, Episode 1. We've already done 1. We call it Episode 0. We're on to the next beer tasting, MetaPattern. Let's go.
Okay. Speaking of cats, the cat of the month is Plop. Plop, we just have a few questions for you. No. Drum and bass is not fast dubstep. No, rollers is not a subgenre. Get out of here. Yeah, well, that's all we have for Cat of the Month. Way to go, Plop.
The 404 Audio Show with your hosts MetaPattern and Thesis.
This is a featured tune from Thesis for this podcast. It comes to us. There's a guy on Facebook. His name's Brian. Synaptic Flow is his producer name, and he sent me a liquid tune. This one is called Night Life. Definitely dug it, and I wanted to feature it on the podcast. Big up to him. He is representing from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Not exactly in the 404 audio area code, but big ups to him to have an interest. He said that he really enjoyed our first podcast, episode 00. So thanks to him for checking it out.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Here is his tune. This is Synaptic Flow, Nightlife. right, we have a few quick shout-outs, different places to catch up and stay up with us. First of all, for this show, the 404 Audio Show, you can follow us on Facebook at Facebook/404 Audio. Easiest way, you can go to our website, which has been up and running since 2003, www.404audio.com. We'll have this podcast published on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and a few others. It's going to be immediately available on SoundCloud, so you can follow us there, SoundCloud/404audio DMB.
Yep.
You can keep up with myself, Thesis, on Untapped at Thesis72. You can keep up with MetaPattern. He's going to tell you about his Untapped.
It's Haze Beer, HAZEBEER.
So if you're in the beer, you got to follow us on Untapped. You got to keep those check-ins checking in.
Yeah, no one's followed us yet, so who's going to be the first?
Who is going to be the first? It might be a cat. We'll find out later.
Yeah.
You can keep up with me, Thesis, on Mixcloud. It's Mixcloud/ThesisDMB. Put a .com in here. It's 2019. You know to do that, so we're good there. MetaPattern, how can we keep up with you and your mixes?
For mixes, you'll definitely want to go to SoundCloud. I have Mixcloud. It's a little bit out of date, but I'm going to get some mixes updated there soon. And then Facebook is definitely the best place to see all my thoughts and rants about stuff. I also have a lot of videos and memes, so it's pretty entertaining, hopefully. But
that's where you can find Thesis and MetaPattern. Again, for 404 Audio, the easiest way, 404audio.com, and we'll link everything in there to our different avenues for the podcast. We've got the Google Calendar on there. It tells you all about the events. Here are the next Atlanta Drum and Bass events coming up. On March 8th, 2019, the next Torch will be in Purgatory at the Masquerade. It is Atlanta Drum and Bass featuring this month Chris Variant doing a DMB set.
Nice.
And the Dan Brown, aka Clerks, doing a DMB set as well.
Bill and I are also going to be at Torch. We'll be closing out the night, doing some good old Mickey and Wiki vibes.
It's Mickey and Wiki vibes, y'all. That's the M and the W coming together once again, bringing you some of that jungle drum and bass rinse out. The next Elevate is going to be on March 15th, 2019. It'll be at the Believe Music Hall, and it features the mighty DRS Longside Selector LSB. So big ups, grab those tickets now. All you need to do is go to facebook.com/elevatednbatl.
So get there early, stay there late, keep in mind all the things we've discussed today, give us feedback, let us know what you liked, and have a good time. And if you can't wait until then to get your drum and bass fix, online we have Making Mondays Great Again with Marcus and BDK on Twitch, and Saturdays at 5 p.m. on dirtybass.fm we have Natsu throwing down some
jump up hype bangers, a little bit of raga, I'm sure, from the one like Natsu inside. All right.
Alright, and with that we'll go right into my selected track for the podcast. That's going to be Benny L Shimon, Yeti. Came out in November on Bass Rush. Heard it when Bill played at the Bad Syntax show. Shoutouts to Ricky Roth for that, and big ups to Bad Syntax and Patrick Felony Knox for also rocking out awesome podcasts all the time. Let's do this.
Yes, I'm walking right in.
Yeah, if you have any other beers that you think we should try or you think we'd like, leave us a comment and let us know. As you probably have figured out by now, we're huge IPA fans, but that doesn't mean we're not going to be trying other stuff in the future. Actually, as a matter of fact, I have a secret fourth beer for you, Bill. And this one was made by my sister. She just brewed it herself, and it's actually a cider. But the reports have come in and they're saying that it's actually pretty similar to beer as well. So we'll give this a shot real quick. But shout outs to my sister Meredith. I love you.
So this is the cider, right?
This is called Genesis, the First Temptation. Meredith's homemade cider.
All right.
For me and for you.
Where did she get the label printed out? Is it all part of a...
I have no idea. I'll have to follow up on that. Cheers, then.
Cheers. It looks great.
Yeah.
So this is a homemade cider. This is a home brew.
Yep.
A brewery that makes cider is called a cidery.
I believe so.
I believe that is correct. First of all, before you even get a sip in, the apple hits you. I've never smelled apple off of a cider like this, but I've also never had insanely fresh cider.
How did you bottle it? How'd you get the cap on? Don't you need like a machine for that?
You're getting that apple as well, right? Like right off the... When you put your nose in the glass, you're like...
The smell is great, and the bubbles on the tongue are really good. A good finish, I mean, no bad aftertaste, nothing.
Meredith Pattern, you have succeeded in your cidery endeavor. Big ups from Thesis and MetaPattern. This is a delicious glass of cider. I do not know if it'll be available, so it might be a cider on dub plate just for us, but big ups once again.
Cider VIP.
Cider VIP. If you like the podcast and want a shout out on the next episode, please leave a comment on our page below. If there are any topics surrounding the ATL DMB scene that you'd like to hear us talk about in the future, please also leave us a comment. Definitely want to thank MetaPattern and Logam for being a part of the 404 Audio podcast and for being part of 404 Audio. We've been around for a long time, and I'm just happy to have people who are interested in the project and want to keep the name going. It's been around for a long time. It's meant something to Atlanta drum and bass for a long time, and I'm glad to have content to push out there through various platforms that you'll be able to hear very soon.
So many platforms. Yeah.
MetaPattern.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks again for everyone for tuning in to the first episode. Hope you enjoyed it.
MetaPattern, any final thoughts on some of our beers or tunes or anything?
Yeah, at this point, by the way I'm feeling, I can tell it was definitely too good. Too good of a good time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was too good of a good time. Logam, thank you for being on. Any final thoughts on some of the beers or some of our just general wackiness that ended up being this podcast?
Yeah, I think I like both beers, but definitely prefer the Monday night. Considering I'm lactose intolerant. Camera on things.
Right. We're gonna move the 4-4 into first place.
But in general, though, Monday night.
Water is now in second, and the creamsicles in third. Yeah, the Monday night stuff is definitely good. Logan, anything you want to shout out? Anything you have going on coming up soon? Music-wise, or culinary-wise, or do you have another post that we are ready to read? Because if you are not friends with Thomas, you should be on Facebook. He has a lot of funny banter and exchanges, so I recommend that.
I'm glad you guys enjoy it.
In addition, thank you for Logam to sponsor this podcast with his Logam Mastering Mixdown service. If you're tuned in here and you've made it this far through all the laughing, then you might be interested to know that this podcast is sponsored by Logam's Mixing Mastering. As I said, if you are a person producing out there any sort of music and would like a professional mixdown or mastering session, you can reach out to Logam at
Thomas@santokurecords.com.
And if you reference this podcast with the code 404 Audio, you will receive
10% off
your first order. So if you got some tracks out there and you're like, man, these are banging, mate, but I just don't have everything. I'll listen to them in the car and on earbuds and on regular headphones, and they're just not hitting. Then hit up Logam. He has mastering service available for you. which I will certainly be taking advantage of in the future. Working on some beats, so I'll get those over his way. Thank you again for tuning in to this edition of the 404 Audio Podcast. You can find this in many places, but for the last 16 years, as always, you can go to www.404audio.com, and you can find this and more information about Atlanta Drum and Bass. MetaPattern, thank you so much.
Always.
Logam, thank you so much for being here.
Beer.
We've had a great time drinking beer and talking ATL D&B.
That's
Thanks.
going to do it for us, folks. See ya.